Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments, folks! It's been 24 hours since the bombshell news from Dr. Mark Bottomwater overflowed the bathtub in the bathwater, and today, the very next day, TCG Player is hit with Doctor Who serialized cards of the 10th Doctor, cracking $10,000 a card. I mean, the entire bull market is on. We got Magic cards hitting $10,000 serialization. Play boosters. The playground is open for business. It's like you flick the switch and the bull market's back and everyone's like Magic to the moon. Everyone, this is it. We bottomed out. Yesterday was the bottom. Is that what I'm supposed to say? How did that sound? Did that sound pretty good, everybody? Does anybody believe in this? Or are we, is anybody, I'm just messing with you guys. Nothing's changed. It's all a pile of heaping crap. First, I just want to comment and follow up on Universes Beyond yesterday. And yes, as we've talked about, Wizards seems to be more conservative and more concerned about maintaining value and not overprinting Universes Beyond IPs of other companies. So that's been a very intriguing thing. It's making people very bullish on this upcoming Lord of the Rings Special Edition with that beautiful art. I'll give them that. And all these new serialized cards and all this beautiful art stuff. And I already told you all for the last 30, 60 days that I do believe the Lord of the Rings Special Editions coming up is going to be very successful. I am a little bit more skeptical with Ixalan. But there's a lot of chatter now about the draft and set boxes since we know they are on the chopping block to be extinct. Suddenly, the entire market is reevaluating, pretty much, you guys understand, the $80, $90, $100 draft boxes are dead. The $110, $120 set boxes are dead. And essentially now, it's going to be what? $120 to $150 for pretty much the play boxes. That's just all there is. You got a play box and a collector box, which is what it should have been all along. But because of that, everyone's kind of saying, well, does that kind of make all the draft boxes right now a little cheap? Like, once the market recalibrates and reprices everything at a higher level, and everybody's used to paying $130 to $150 for play boxes, God knows what stores are going to pay. It's got to be over $100 at this point. It's probably what? Because set boxes were already almost $100 a box. So play boxes have to be, what, $110 for a store to buy them. So even if I bought a pallet of them, I mean, even at $110, so I'd have to sell them for what, $120s to break even? Like, yeah, I mean, so that means the average store who has a lot of overhead with a lot of employees and doesn't live in a basement, I mean, yeah, they're going to have to sell for $149 plus tax. Just for the store to make a 20% profit margin, 80% cost of goods sold, 20% profit, woo! They're going to have to sell for that. And that brings me to the point that a lot of you all and a lot of patrons have been messaging me. And suddenly, in the last 24 hours, I've had a huge uptick in you all buying $89 draft boxes from me out of nowhere. The amount of patrons who all of a sudden start buying cases, $89 Infinity boxes. All of a sudden, even Crimson Vow. Like everything is, I think as the news is getting digested, yes, it's Wizards' way of raising prices and streamlining, so their cost the Wizards' cost to make the product will be cheaper. They have less versions and they can only make one. They just pump out play boxes at a higher price point. That's essentially the angle here. And now, overnight, I've been going through the messages and replying to people, and I'm like, there's a trend here. And then I go over to PayPal, I'm looking at the orders, and I'm like, okay. So it looks like people are believing with the new water level being rose up to, 130s, these $89 draft boxes appear to be very attractive. I've seen an uptick in Dominator United draft, Brothers War draft, March the Machine draft, and again, the older ones, Baldur's Gate set boxes had a huge spike, and Baldur's Gate draft, which I'm almost out of now, and even, like I said, even Crimson Vow and Streets. I'm seeing a sudden resurgence, and it almost feels like people who were, again, like I told you, people who were waiting for any piece of positive news. And I know many of you out there, I know how you feel. Rudy, that shit wasn't positive, bro. All they did was go like this. Rudy's mustache. Like, that's all they were doing. And then they raised the price, and they said, we're the community. We're here for you. LGSs, community. LGS. Why am I doing like the creep? Like, what the fuck am I doing with the creep? Everyone's kind of realizing that, okay, so they designed a system that had faults. They come in later on, and Mark becomes the hero. They fix their faults, and by fixing faults, we got to raise prices for like the 6th time in 2 years. Friendly reminder, just to refresh everyone who's new to this channel. I've been doing this for 8 years. The first 5 to 6 out of 8 years, I sold $79 draft boxes to patrons. Never raised the price in over 5 years. And then, of course, 2020 happens. And of course, inflation and all this dumb idiots and Timmies take over the world. And it's just like, the post office has like 12 price increases. Wizards has 4 price increase. Everyone blames everyone else, right? And I'm here to tell you all, it's all a shit show and they're all lying. They're all full of shit. They're just raising prices because they can. So I know a lot of people are still bitter on this whole price increase under the pseudo of the white knight, I'm going to save magic. But that's what they're doing. And I can tell you all from a data standpoint, a lot of people who were watching this channel, my own patrons, on the back of that news, I've seen the largest uptick in patron sales of draft boxes I've seen in a couple months. And a lot of these people, and a lot of these patrons who've been patrons for years, they haven't bought, I looked at the history, many of these individuals haven't even bought cases of draft or Infinity or Streets or Kamigawa or Crimson. They haven't bought any of this stuff in 12, 18 months. And suddenly, out of nowhere, the news hits, and I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't seen that name in a while buy something. Oh, look at, oh, wait. Okay, wait a minute. This is all. That tells me the theory of people have been waiting for some form of change and acknowledgement. You're never going to get the full fulfillment in the feeling that we feel we are owed or the apology. You're never going to get that in life. No matter how much you may crave or you feel you deserve or expect it. Buttercup Rudy is here to tell you something, folks. And that is, life, it works in a very fucked up way, okay? Let me give you all a Rudy pat on the back. Papa Rudy's going to give you guys a couple lessons. Even if you have that moment to say, I told you so, or if you have that moment to go back and prove to an old coworker or an old manager or an old teacher or high school person or ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend or, an old family member or sibling, it could be anybody. It doesn't matter who it is or what entity or company or person. Even if you could go back and say that perfect one line in that perfect moment, in your head, you feel like, oh, that would just be so, that justification. Let me, Papa Rudy's going to tell you all something. In the real world, not in Hollywood, where we stand outside, some dude or chick's house and we hold a boombox over our head playing 80s music. In the real world, you don't really get those satisfaction moments. And what you think you would like to say or happen, even if you achieve or acquire that, it won't provide the fulfilling feeling that you think you will get from it. And I know that's a weird thing to say and kind of wordy, but what that means is, essentially put, we all know we're never going to get a full-blown communication, apology, we're never going to get clear, concise communication from Hasbro, Wizards, Mark, Cynthia, or Wikipedia. We're never going to get that. You would literally have to track these people down in real life and corner them in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, buy them waffle fries, and try to trick them to answering questions. And that's never going to happen, okay? Whoever these people are who have the power to make these decisions, we don't have the ability to communicate with them. They don't want us to communicate with them. And no matter how we feel, that's never going to change. So on the backs of yesterday's bombshell, that is the closest we're ever going to get to this form of change, apology, shifting the Costa Concordia. We're good. Wait, that's the one that sank? Shifting the Titan. No, fuck, that one sank too. Shifting the New World Caribbean cruise ship. Is that the one with the poop deck or the COVID deck? Fuck. Okay, no more cruise ships. It's one of these things where you're never going to get what you really are hoping to happen. But what we received yesterday was a landmark moment in modern history. Okay? And because of that, I am already seeing shifts in behavior. Okay? Now, does that mean Magic's going to recover? The bear market of 2 years is over with? Magic 30 is over? No. the only thing that can heal from the damage of what has happened is time. Time is the only remedy. And the deeper the wound and the more the emotional damage and the economic damage is, the more time you have to insert between us and the negative event to heal and scar over that damage. It's going to take time. But we are currently in a very special day and position where we do have, I'm going to call it small, but we have a small acknowledgement and a small pivot that we've never had before. And no matter how frustrated we all are, we do have to acknowledge Mark didn't have to post that. Mark didn't have to post all the acknowledging problems that were, but they did. And normally, they never do that. So we have an event that happened. We have acknowledgement of problems, which they never really do in that level of detail. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So, yes, we've got silliness on TCG Player with a $10,000 card, and it's just funny. It doesn't mean anything. I just want to clickbait you all and get some people angry and just comment real quick and run away, and it adds to the algorithm. Remember, when you thumbs down the video and put a mean comment, it helps my channel promote and helps me make money. And remember, I'm not here for the community. I'm here to report news, events, talk to you, and give you a no BS, just straight to your face, uncomfortable, Chuck Norris fondling, just punch you in the face. This is what's going on. Some people hate that. Some people don't like the blunt delivery. Some people think I should script things out and censor things. Other people say, Rudy, it is what it is. Go fuck yourself. I do that every Tuesday afternoon after dinner. But the point is, this is the real world, folks. And we have to acknowledge the market conditions. And overall, I think what happened yesterday was a net positive. Even though there were negatives mixed in, it was still a net positive. Not perfect, but it was a net overall. When we weigh the pros and cons, it was a net positive. I do believe over the coming months, we could see some interesting market behavior on this announcement. It's going to take time, but over the next 3 to 6 months, there is a very real chance that we see a shift in market attitude and sentiment, and I'm really curious to see if it can stick. I'm skeptical at this point. I feel more needs to be done. I still have yet to see any form of whales, wealthy individuals, stores, distributors. Nobody is putting large money into Magic the Gathering, anything to do with Hasbro, inventory, new products, vintage Magic products, single cards, sealed. The only thing I still see out there is stores that won't pay cash buy lists, trolls and toes that say, I ain't touching your shit, good luck, fuck yourself, Hasbro. And then we see a lot of little stores going under. We see a lot of other companies don't want to deal in singles. We see a lot of other platforms can't keep up with the variants. We still see layers of problems all over this marketplace. And Magic the Gathering is a collectible card game or a trading card game. It is collectible and it does contain trading. So whatever acronym you want to use, you can spin a narrative and you can apply it to this conversation. But it needs to bring back the collectability. And unfortunately, the game piece and the Project Booster Fund memes have been very destructive on the brand. That's where it is today, folks. I wanted to follow up so far on the next update. It does appear, though, that, I've seen some bids coming into the market to buy some sealed products and new things that I haven't seen in a while. Now is, I'm not calling it a turning point, but it's encouraging that we may be turning a corner. And there's no way to know if we are turning a corner unless a couple months go by and we need, multiple data points to make a trend. Right now, we just see a little uptick and we say, oh, well, that's nice to see. But until we see 3, 4, 5 upticks that are consecutive, then we can draw a line and then we can say, okay, we have enough data where we can conclusively say that is a pattern, not just market noise or someone who's drunk and, dropped their ding-a-ling on the keyboard and they ordered a bunch of, Baldur's Gate, right? That's all I got, folks. What a time to be alive.